because she wanted to put up a picture of him getting his pants pulled down.
I seen him do it before. I seen him even tell people on the phone before, like, yo, like he did Wendy Williams.
Here's how it all begins. Imagine a whirlwind of secrets, lies, and power plays involving some of the most famous names in entertainment. Now, picture all of that unraveling in the most dramatic way possible, with explosive revelations, mysterious connections, and shocking betrayals. This is exactly what's happening as we dive into the tangled web of Wendy Williams and Sean Diddy Combs, a saga that's shaking up Hollywood and leaving everyone wondering, how deep does this rabbit hole go?
We expect winds to subside somewhat, which will allow fire crews to increase containment lines. However, and I want to be very clear here as well, we are still under red flag warning with extreme fire behavior possibilities.
Let's kick things off with something that's been on everyone's mind lately, those eerie California wildfires that devastated celebrity neighborhoods. Homes reduced to ash, roads blocked, and even the military and FBI stepping in to restrict access to certain areas. Sounds like a natural disaster, right? Maybe not. Some people are claiming there's more to this catastrophe than meets the eye. Could it be connected to a larger conspiracy? And somehow, Diddy's name keeps popping up in the mix. But how does a music mogul fit into such chaos? Hold that thought, because we'll get to it.
This is Wendy Williams, the hottest radio host in New York City.
Now, before we dive too deep into the firestorm, literally and figuratively, let's talk about Wendy Williams. That woman is a living legend when it comes to dishing out the hot tea. But lately, she's been the one making headlines, and not just for her health struggles or court battles. Wendy, despite everything, is back and spilling the kind of details that make you gasp. And guess who's at the center of her latest revelations? You guessed it, Diddy.
The first woman to uncover the homo stuff.
Here's the backstory you need to know. Wendy and Diddy go way back, and not in a good way. Their feud has been brewing since the 90s when Wendy was dominating the New York radio scene. Back then, she wasn't just a talk show host. She was the queen of spilling secrets no one else dared to touch. And one of her favorite topics? Diddy. She didn't hesitate to call him out, question his relationships, or even hint at some very personal rumors about his private life. But Wendy's boldness came at a cost.
When she put out those pictures of the dude pulling his pants down, and it looked like some gay act that was going on, he got on the phone.
In 1998, Wendy was fired from her gig at Hot 97, the biggest hip-hop radio station in New York at the time. And if you believe the stories, and there are plenty, Diddy had everything to do with it. According to insiders, Wendy was planning to air some pretty compromising details about Diddy, including an alleged photo that showed him in a compromising position during a trip to Cancun. She teased the story on air, and before she could even go live with the full scoop, Diddy reportedly made a call to the station's executives. The ultimatum? Fire Wendy or lose access to all the artists and music under his influence. And let's be real, this was the late 90s when Diddy was at the peak of his power. He wasn't just a music producer, he was the gatekeeper of hip-hop. Hot 97 caved and Wendy was out.
Let me tell you this. When I get back to New York City, if she's on the radio station, he's talking to a radio executive.
But it didn't stop there. Diddy allegedly blackballed Wendy across the entire New York radio scene, making it nearly impossible for her to find work. She even had to leave the city for a while with bills piling up and no steady income. And if that wasn't bad enough, Wendy claims Diddy sent the girl group Total, who were signed to his bad boy label, to confront her outside the radio station. According to Wendy, the group showed up ready to fight, and the whole scene was witnessed by her coworkers, who were standing at the windows watching it all go down. Wendy didn't back down though. She later recounted the incident with her signature sass, saying, "You know what I said was true. Y'all were broke and living in the projects, and that was that." Fast forward a few years, and Wendy finally started to rebuild her career, eventually becoming the talk show queen we all know today. But even with her success, she rarely spoke about Diddy, at least not in detail. That is, until recently. In the wake of Diddy's arrest and the wildfires that have everyone talking, Wendy is connecting the dots and dropping some serious bombs. She's hinted that the fires might not be as accidental as they seem, and that certain celebrity homes were targeted for a reason. And guess whose name is floating around in these rumors? Diddy's.
When we got back to New York City, Wendy Williams was in Philly at a new station.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Wendy's revelations go beyond just Diddy's role in her firing or the alleged altercations outside her radio station. She's also opened up about the toll his actions took on her personally and professionally. In interviews, she said things like, "The hell he put me through. I will never forget." And yet, she's always maintained that she doesn't hate him, which is honestly kind of impressive considering everything she's been through. Now, if you're wondering why Wendy is choosing this moment to speak out, the timing is no coincidence. Diddy's legal troubles have brought a lot of his past actions back into the spotlight, and Wendy seems ready to set the record straight. Plus, let's not forget her own battles. She's been fighting against a court-appointed guardian who claims she was permanently incapacitated. Wendy has pushed back hard against these claims, even going on record to say she's not cognitively impaired and is ready to take control of her life again. And honestly, her latest interviews prove she's still sharp as ever.
And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
But here's where things get even more interesting. Wendy isn't just talking about the past, she's also dropping hints about what might be happening right now. She's suggested that the recent California wildfires, which destroyed several celebrity homes, could be part of a larger cover-up. According to Wendy, certain areas that were burned were rumored to contain evidence linked to ongoing investigations. And when you combine that with reports of the FBI and military restricting access to these areas, it's hard not to wonder, what's really going on here?
That just goes to show you how far the homosexual movement within hip-hop and sports still needs to go.
Some people are even speculating that Diddy might have had a hand in starting the fires to destroy evidence or protect certain secrets. It sounds far-fetched, but when you look at the bigger picture, Diddy's influence, the timing of the fires, and the celebrities involved, it's enough to make you pause. And Wendy, true to form, isn't holding back. She's said, "It's about time people started paying attention to what's really going on. Whether you believe her or not, there's no denying she's got people talking." And speaking of talking, Wendy's not the only one with something to say. Public reactions to her recent interviews have been mixed, with some fans praising her for her bravery and others questioning her motives. But love her or hate her, Wendy Williams has always been a force to be reckoned with. And now that she's back, it looks like she's ready to take on anyone who stands in her way, including Diddy. Let's get straight into it. If you thought Wendy Williams' fallout with Diddy was messy, wait until you hear about the allegations involving his relationships, his control over others, and the chaos swirling around the California wildfires. These aren't just rumors anymore, they're turning into full-blown scandals. And the deeper we dig, the worse it gets. So buckle up, because first, let's talk about Diddy's relationship with Cassie Ventura, the singer and model who was romantically involved with him for over a decade. On the surface, their relationship seemed glamorous. Red carpets, luxury vacations, and expensive gifts. But behind the scenes, it was anything but. Wendy Williams, always unfiltered, hinted at what she called a disturbing imbalance of power between them. Wendy even went as far as to say that Cassie was being treated more like a possession than a partner, and honestly, it's hard to ignore the signs.
A few times I thought I was gonna pass out because it was hot on that staircase, you know what I'm saying? And when they closed the doors.
Cassie herself has alluded to the controlling nature of their relationship. And remember, this isn't just speculation. There are actual accusations that Diddy went to extreme lengths to keep her under his thumb. For example, Wendy once joked on her show that Diddy could fly across the world, pay off hotel staff, and show up at Cassie's door unannounced if he wanted to. It was said in jest, but it carried an underlying truth. Diddy had the resources and the influence to make it impossible for her to escape his orbit.
We were there at the doorway pulling people in, trying to get them. It was bananas. I pulled friends through the door.
But it wasn't just Wendy who raised alarms. Other industry insiders have whispered about Diddy's allegedly obsessive tendencies. One particularly chilling claim suggested that he tracked Cassie's movements and even had people follow her when he suspected she might be meeting with someone else. And let's not forget the infamous breakup. When Cassie finally left Diddy for good in 2018, he reportedly tried to win her back with grand public gestures, including social media posts, professing his love, but instead of being romantic, it felt like another attempt to control the narrative and, by extension, her. And then there's the lawsuit Cassie filed against Diddy in 2023, which sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. While the details of the case were settled privately, the allegations were enough to make people take a second look at Diddy's history of relationships. Cassie didn't just walk away from a relationship, she walked away from a situation that, according to her, was deeply toxic. And Wendy? Oh, she had plenty to say. She called it the ultimate power move and applauded Cassie for finally taking control of her life. But here's where things get even more complicated. Around the same time, Wendy began dropping hints about a connection between Diddy's personal life and the California wildfires. Now we know what you're thinking, what do wildfires have to do with a music mogul's relationships? Well, according to Wendy and other sources, it's all about what those fires might have destroyed. Rumor has it that certain high-profile homes that burned down during the fires were under investigation for housing evidence tied to Diddy's ongoing legal troubles. And if that's true, it raises some serious questions. Was this just an unfortunate coincidence, or was there something more deliberate at play?
You could actually hear when somebody because you would hear they would, and then you wouldn't hear anymore.
Adding fuel to the fire, pun intended, are reports that the FBI restricted access to specific areas affected by the wildfires. These weren't just random neighborhoods. They included homes owned by celebrities who have been linked to Diddy in one way or another. The military was even called in to secure these zones, which has only added to the speculation. What were they trying to protect or hide? And why were these areas so heavily guarded when other more vulnerable neighborhoods were left exposed? Wendy isn't the only one asking these questions. Social media has been ablaze, again, pun intended, with theories about what's really going on. Some people believe Diddy may have orchestrated the fires to eliminate evidence, while others think he's just a scapegoat in a much larger conspiracy. Either way, the timing is suspicious and the whispers are getting louder. And let's not forget the other celebrities caught up in this mess. Homes belonging to Anthony Hopkins, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Paris Hilton were among those destroyed, but Diddy's Holmby Hills mansion, completely untouched. How is it that his property, located just miles from the fires, managed to escape unscathed? It's almost too convenient, and people are starting to notice.
24 people are now confirmed. So far, the flames have destroyed 12,000 structures and scorched 60 square miles.
What's even more suspicious is the rumored link between the wildfires and secret evidence allegedly being stored in some of these celebrity homes. Reports suggest that certain properties were under investigation for housing documents, recordings, or other materials that could implicate high-powered individuals in ongoing legal cases. And while no official agency has confirmed this, the fact that FBI agents were spotted in the area during the height of the fires has only fueled these theories. Why would law enforcement have such a heavy presence during what's being labeled as a natural disaster? It's almost as if they were there to retrieve something, or make sure it was gone for good.
24 people are now confirmed. So far, the flames have destroyed 12,000 structures and scorched 60 square miles.
Then there's the matter of Diddy's home itself. Located in Holmby Hills, his mansion is one of the most extravagant properties in the area, yet it somehow emerged untouched while flames ravaged nearby neighborhoods. And here's the kicker. Satellite footage allegedly shows firefighting efforts being concentrated near his property, even as other homes burned to the ground. If true, this raises some major questions. Was Diddy's property given special treatment, and if so, why? Some sources claim that his house was being closely monitored due to its suspected connection to the investigations. Others think it's just another example of the elite protecting their own. Either way, the optics aren't great.
This wind event is approaching us, and it's approaching us very, very quickly.
Elevated critical fire weather conditions will continue through Wednesday.
And let's not ignore the growing chatter about underground tunnels supposedly connecting Diddy's home to other high-profile properties in the area. This wild claim first gained traction on social media, where users pointed to old blueprints and real estate rumors. Some believe these tunnels were used for transportation or secret meetings, while others think they might have been part of something even more sinister. The idea sounds far-fetched, but with so many strange coincidences surrounding these fires, people are willing to consider even the most outlandish possibilities. After all, when it comes to Hollywood's elite, truth is often stranger than fiction. Speaking of noticing, have you heard about the eerie predictions made by Allie Carter? She's an author and alleged survivor of trafficking who has been speaking out about hidden networks of power and corruption in Hollywood. In October 2024, she posted a video warning people to watch for fires and hinted that explosions could be involved. At the time, her claims were dismissed as conspiracy theories, but now, people are starting to connect the dots. Carter has even suggested that these fires are part of a larger effort to cover up evidence tied to trafficking and other crimes. And while she didn't name Diddy directly, her warnings have only added to the speculation surrounding his involvement. But let's bring it back to Wendy for a moment, because she's been dropping some serious hints of her own. In a recent interview, she said people wouldn't believe what was found in certain areas that burned during the fires. She didn't elaborate, but her tone was enough to make everyone sit up and take notice. Wendy has always been one to call it like she sees it, and if she's suggesting there's more to the story, you better believe people are paying attention. And it's not just the wildfires that have people talking. Wendy has also been vocal about Diddy's alleged role in the downfall of other celebrities. Take Shine, for example, the rapper who served time for a 1,999 nightclub incident that Diddy and J-Lo were also involved in. Wendy has long accused Diddy of letting Shine take the fall to protect himself and his then-girlfriend. And now, with Diddy's legal troubles piling up, people are revisiting those old cases and wondering if there's a pattern here.
So they put you in a bad situation. They tell you that the guy is okay, even though everybody knows he's the boogeyman.
Even Cat Williams, the comedian known for his no-holds-barred commentary, has chimed in. He once claimed that certain powerful figures in Hollywood use tactics like blackmail and intimidation to silence those who know too much. And while he didn't name names, many believe he was alluding to people like Diddy. Cat's comments have resurfaced in light of the current scandals, adding yet another layer to the tangled web of rumors and accusations.
It's still heartbreaking, even if your house is there, to know that one of the most, what I always thought was one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in Los Angeles is just...
So where does this leave us? On one hand, you have Wendy Williams, who has made a career out of exposing the hidden truths of the entertainment industry. On the other, you have Diddy, a man who has built an empire on his image as a charismatic and untouchable mogul. But as more people come forward with their stories, that image is starting to crack. Wendy herself has said, it's about time people started seeing the truth. And honestly, it's hard to disagree. But the real question is, how much more is there to uncover? If the wildfires, the lawsuits, and the celebrity connections are just the tip of the iceberg, what else could be lurking beneath the surface? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This story is far from over, and we'll be watching closely as it continues to unfold. Until next time, stay tuned for more updates on Hollywood's most jaw-dropping scandals.